Hi guys. So I thought I might share one of my projects I did in school on this site. My previous post on this channel has been more of artistic drawings, portraits and the like. So yeah, I thought I might share one of my architecture projects I did in school. So this project is a healing space for military veterans with PTSD. That is PTSD meaning post-traumatic stress disorder. This project began as a result of an increase in PTSD cases among military veterans in the UK, and the concept of biophilic design, which is an approach to architecture that seeks to connect building occupants more closer to nature, was introduced to help deal and reduce the stress and pain among veterans. So over here we can see a rise in PTSD military veterans visiting the healthcare center among the Royal Marines, among the Army, among the Navy. We can see a rise uh, from the year 2013 to 2020. There has been like a persistent rise in military veterans visiting the healthcare setting. Over here, we can also see a rise in PTSD cases. Uh, in the year 2004, you see 4%, whereby we can see a jump here in 2014. So that was what prompted uh, the design that to come up with a space that can cater for veterans with PTSD. So over here we have the existing site, the site we chose for the project. It's located in a naval base in Portsmouth Historic Dockyard. And we basically chose this site because of the many abundant water features it has. Um, so, so where we have a water basin, here we have an existing dock, which is shown clearly here. Here we have a water park, and then also on this side there are many various iconic ships like the HMS Victory, the Melrose Museum ship, the HMS 33 ship. So we chose this site basically because of the many abundant water features that can help cater for the military veterans suffering with uh, PTSD. So over here, the concept of the site we're looking at was to create uh, a walkway, which would be an access road to the building. The idea was our building would sit overlooking this water, and they want to repurpose these existing docks as swimming pools. And then we're thinking of repurposing this water basin as a water park. So we came up with an initial sketch where we have like a walkway to access the building. And the plan was that the building is going to sit and overlook the water, which is this water park here. And then we're going to have like a step sitting to bring the occupants, the veterans, closer to the water. So the idea was to have a series of steps that brings them closer to the water. And then you have this walkway, and then these docks over here will be used as swimming pools. Then behind here we have an existing park, a parking space for cars. We wanted to retain that space for parking also over here. Yeah, so basic sketch. Then we wanted to have like a walkway around the site, around this water here, that they can sit and have a look at the water to help them relax and ease their stress. Over here, we have the site drawn to scale, and here we can see the existing dock, which has been repurposed to a pool, a swimming pool now, both one on the left, one on the right. We can see the building which overlooks the water. And we have this nice step sitting to bring the users closer to the water. And we have that walkway which we sketched before. We have this nice walkway. We now have it here drawn to scale, and a nice garden and walkway around a sitting arrangement to view the water. And then we still have this our existing, ships, the Melrose Museum ship, the HMS Victory ship, and HMS M33 ships around the site. And the idea was really to create a healing landscape and building around these many abundant water features. Over here, we could see the building in 3D form. We can see uh, the existing docks, which has been repurposed to a pool. We can see the parking spaces. We can see the step sitting, uh, which brings the users closer to the water, and a nice garden and a walkway, which they could view the garden, and a nice building over here. Here was the early iterative sketches, bringing the concept to life. So here we have just rough sketches showing how the building is going to sit on the water, and we have this nice walkway and the pool. And here is the shape of you know, I came up with different sketches before I finally ended up with this nice rectangular shape. Also here we have developmental sketches of the building. The idea was we have this walkway and the building, part of building on water and part of building on ground, steps sitting overlooking the water, existing docks to be used as swimming pool. And here we can see it in 3D format. And we also wanted to mask the building. So the idea was that the public zone will be on the ground floor, which is the most noisiest. Then we're going to have the residential floors on the other floors. Therapeutic zone, recreational zone. We're just going to plan the building based on zone on different floors. So here is a typical floor plan of the ground floor. The idea was to make the spaces open because veterans always want to know what is happening around them. So we wanted to make the spaces not enclosed, open so that they can see anything around them. Here's the gym, so we made it very open. Most of the spaces are open for veterans to, you know what is happening around them, see what is going on around them. Yes, so these are some rendered views. Um, Veterans really love curved spaces, so we thought of making the building facade curved to attract veterans to the building. For the pools, we repurposed the existing docks as pool. Previous research has shown that surfing and swimming can ease the stress of people with PTSD. So we created this really nice swimming pool for them to have a nice swim. And then we also created green spaces where, because research has shown that green spaces help them to feel better. So we created green spaces, green wall spaces attached to the walls. So we have more rendered views over here. We have this nice the step here. We can see the steps sitting, looking very, which brings them very close to the water. And then we have, the wall facade, which research has shown that helps to lower depression rates. That's why we created these green spaces on the walls. And then previous research also showed that they like solace. They like, private spaces, private corners to reflect. So we made the windows bigger for them to have a space to relax and also to read, to study, which helps to make them feel better because they are really, really drawn to corners. So we created this nice, all these windows here are very big spaces for corners for the veterans to have a place of solace and to, reflect. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.